everything good that they tried to do, that they tried to do world building wise was crap. It just, I feel like it tore down part of the world building for Aang. And I just don't think it was that good. Damn, nobody heard that. Is it on the headphones?
Oh no, I mean it was recorded.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that was like Alia's little rant. I mean, you don't really. I played that in there. I'll do it again.
I just don't think it was that good. I don't like Korra, the series, not necessarily the character. I don't like her as much, but the series is just, it could have gone so many directions. It could have been much better than it was. I think Amon could have been the villain for the entire series.
Amon was a great villain.
He was the best, and he died the first season. I was livid.
That was the guy who was like against bending, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was voiced by Steve Blum.
He was voiced by Steve Blum. He had that.
What a man.
His whole backstory should have been peppered throughout an entire season. That was. I don't like how they treated that. Just from a storytelling perspective, I hate it.
Hear you because you're not.
Oh yeah. A note on you guys.
So if you hear yourself, you know that you're being picked up.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like when you're talking, Abraham and Corn, when you're talking, like Kareem. God, I'm sorry.
God damn.
I'm sorry. Especially to you, not to you guys. Kareem. Yeah. So when you guys talk in the direction of the mic, I know like you wanna like look at me, and I'm like, oh, he cares, and we're making eye contact, but like you're not facing the mic. But yeah. So
you
like
busy?
Yeah. So get in there. Yeah. Not that close, but you know what I mean. Like. Just be in its general direction, and or what you can do, because you guys are not talking at the same time, is just like move the mic slightly over to each other if you want to do it like that. So just kind of take it from each other.
I know you want to look at me.
I know.
Caleb's so cute.
But yeah, other than that, I think audio was the best we've ever had.
Yeah.
Say less.
Ava and audio.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
the
gonna
title.
turn off the recording until we do the. Marvin, do you mind if I just leave this in? Sure. It starts with like all you just ranting, and we don't know what it is until like later. I find it so funny.
Just put that as the intro.
Yeah.
Hey, big fellas.
Yeah, just have that little snippet, just like this time on Big Fellas.
I hate this shit.
I just should have started like 10 seconds earlier. Oh my god. Okay.
This is fine.
Oh yeah, but are we doing the Korra thing? Are we leaving that in there?
No, I gotta rant about that shit.
Okay, so are we just gonna? Okay, we'll take that out.
Alright, so we'll do character development and Legend of Korra next time.
Yeah.
What you can do now, you could add, because that just leaves like a whole 20 minutes. You took out a subject, so if you want to add more to something else, you can now.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll give you like another 10 minutes to put on something else. What do you think needs more time?
Production animation.
Production.
Oh.
So we'll just leave like production animation for 20 minutes then.
Okay.
If you want to do
So
that.
definitely add it to characters.
Well, I mean, if you're leaving in production, then like, you can't add anymore.
Oh.
Are we recording right now?
Yeah.
No. Oh yeah, we are.
Best. No, we got a bass boost.
Best.
So like either 20 minutes in production animation or 20 minutes of something else. That's what I'm saying.
20 minutes of production animation.
Okay.
So that's very significant to the whole thing.
Okay. So this is all in the doc, but I'm just gonna read it out loud. We'll do news for 10 minutes or less, because that's just the maximum time I'm putting on here. Mm-hmm. Books, I'm doing 15 minutes or less, like roughly 5 minutes a book or so. I think that's okay.
I'm just gonna highlight the things that we're actually doing so I don't get confused.
Okay. Favorite characters and why, that's 10 minutes. Character development, something else. You can fit world building in. You can fit that in production, maybe? Maybe?
Okay.
Or how would you
Favorite
think?
episodes. That would
Favorite
make
is,
sense.
that's, yeah, I have that listed as 10 for now.
I feel like world building should go with the next.
Yeah, it should go with the next Avatar episode.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Because if we're
another
gonna be
episode?
criticizing the world building of Korra, then we should at least introduce what we're.
I don't think
what
it's
the
gonna
basis
be
is.
we criticize.
I mean,
Critique can be positive or negative.
Okay.
I say
There you go.
personally, I gave first season of Korra a 6.5 out of 10. So.
Wait, can I hear the soundbite? I never actually got to hear it.
Can you do
Do
this?
it.
Oh, my bad.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so we all straight.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have stuff pulled up for news, like articles for each point or whatever. But if you guys want to pull that up also, that's fine. If not, I'll just take
If you already have
that.
articles, then you should leave the.
Okay,
You should leave the
I'll take
news.
on that. Cool.
Leave the news.
The news.
Caleb's the anchor.
Oh my god.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode
Don't
of
do that.
on this segment of
What the fuck is wrong?
of white people getting more rich off our characters.
Oh my god.
Oh, I mean,
Fuck you.
oh.
Let's save that for the edgy / miscellaneous episode.
I only think they got a category, big fella.
All right, I think we're ready whenever.
Awesome.
All right. What's up, big fellas? Welcome to the Thick Bellas, where we got a big fella here. Welcome, Kareem. Woo!
This is definitely my first time being here. Haven't been here for another episode.
Yet.
Yes.
Yeah, this is Kareem. Welcome him. He's cool.
Welcome,
I was the OG. Thanks, Avatar.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait, don't give it away.
I mean, hello.
Yeah. We have our normal crew here. I'm
Hey.
Abraham.
I'm Caleb. Nice to meet y'all
I'm
again.
Alia.
I'm Marvin.
Yeah. All right. We got a little bit of news here.
Y'all.
Wanna bring that up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
On the day
So, so we have a couple of news which happens to concern superheroes, which happens to all be movie based. So I'll start with one. What came out this morning? Spider-Man is back
Woo! Let's
in
go,
the
baby.
MCU, and so I have an article up for my Variety, and I'll take a look at it. And in the beginning of the article, they kind of break down what it's the fallout between mommy and daddy, Sony and Disney respectively, and
Go with it.
Yeah. So basically, if you didn't know already, the contract ran out. Spider-Man, his last appearance, Tom Holland, was in Endgame. No, not Endgame. Far From Home. And have you guys seen that yet?
No.
Working on it.
Okay. All right.
damn.
That's fine. That's fine. and so basically, Disney was like to renew their contract. They're like, we want 50% of the money you guys get and not 5 now. And take into consideration that Disney was already what the frick?
Abraham. Stop.
Go
Disney
ahead.
was already getting like all of the merchandising that Spider-Man was making off of these movies. So they're already getting a lot of money, even with only 5% of film profits. But they wanted 50 because more money. And Sony was like, no, our character, get out, and we have this big fight. Now, however, according to late last night, documents were re-signed. And now we have a new deal. And basically, Spider-Man has one more movie in the MCU.
2.
At least 2.
At least
It's
2.
one in the. You sure?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, there's one that's planned, but there's at least 2 in the new contract.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay.
I don't have all the details right now.
Well, let me just read verbatim from the article. The new deal was signed late on Thursday night. Negotiations involved top players from both studios, blah, blah, blah. Feige and Walt Disney, Marvel and Disney will roughly receive 25% of the profits, according to the insiders. Disney will retain its merchandising rights and will put up roughly a quarter of the financing stuff. The film that of Spider-Man and the MCU will be released on July 16th, 2021. And Amy Pascal will still be producing on it. She was the same Sony producer for all the other ones. Kevin Feige basically talks about how he's really excited and stuff like that. But okay, I don't see this thing about the 2. Okay, this is how I read it before we actually find out what happened. I thought it was just one movie in the MCU, but he still has 2 in the Sony, like by itself. Because how I looked at it was like, he's one more with Feige and everybody, but they're also taking him and putting him in like the like solo Spider-Man movies still with Tom Holland, but like in the Sonyverse. Like maybe he'll do like crossover with like Venom with Tom Hardy or something.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. Yeah, Feige even says it himself, how like he's like, I'm thrilled that Spider-Man's journey in the MCU will continue. And Spider-Man's a very powerful icon and hero whose story crosses all ages and audiences around the globe. he also happens to be the only hero with the superpower that cross cinematic universes. So like this should be interesting in how they're gonna deal with that, because it's not like they can use other MCU properties in the Sony solo movies. So that should be really weird, you know.
Yeah.
That's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
So like,
which characters? are
No
gonna pick
Iron
and
Spider?
Oh,
see, yeah, I don't know. It's really, I don't know how they're gonna do that. Like, cause I think they'll still be able to have like Zendaya and like all those other people within his like Far From Home / Homecoming movies, but he couldn't have like any other MCU people be in there at all, like no Nick Fury or any of that stuff.
I mean, they've already kind of done that with like the Netflix series. Like the Netflix series, they kind of allude that the events in the MCU have happened, but I mean, like they don't directly address it that much.
Right.
So I mean, I think they could work around it.
Yeah, I have faith in Sony. They have a really good track record recently.
Oh, Spider-Verse?
Yeah, exactly. And even Venom made a lot of money, which is surprising.
Yeah.
Other news, so Joker. So recently, recently, well, I'm reading off an article from the Rolling Stones, and basically they're covering the whole Joker situation, and based off screenings from that critics and the reviews on it, it's generally positive. However, people are like, this film might incite some violence, and so.
Why'd you use that voice, Caleb? Oh my.
I'm sorry. And so, basically, Warner Brothers himself have come out saying that, let me find it here. Well, even before that. Okay, so after the critics set their thing, director Todd Phillips was like, he refuted any suggestion that the film has an intent to rationalize or empathize with white male violence in the first place. He argued in one interview that the suggestion otherwise is simply a product of like some left-wing stuff. Basically, it's nonsense that, you know, people would take it that way. But I think the military even came out, and Warner Brothers even came out saying, make no mistake, neither the fictional character Joker nor the film is an endorsement of real-world violence of any kind. And, yeah. And then, like, the military was like, be careful when you watch the movie. And they're thinking of, like, bringing, like, extra security or something, like, for the showings, some of this stuff. Basically, like, heightening public tension about this. I mean,
Yeah,
what
so,
is your...
So don't try and sneak in snacks when you go see Joker.
You will be shot on sight.
So what do you guys...
Bring out the dogs.
Can't play my waist and nuts.
So what do you guys think of this situation? Like, is this ridiculous? Is it valid? Warranted? Basically based off the shooting that happened with Dark Knight Rises. Like, how do we take this?
I feel like part of the problem here is that the media seems to be perpetrating this excitement for violence.
Yeah.
I don't think the threat would be as large as it is without this kind of controversy going around, because to me it kind of seems like at this point media is almost taunting some of the audience to do some type of violent act just to get your name out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need more media
Like,
says.
not directly, but like ironic, like as an
Yeah, okay.
ironic reaction to what's happening.
I can't see how the movie would incite violence when the movie hasn't even been released yet. So I don't necessarily think it's the movie. Just like right off the bat, it comes out October, whatever, and it's
Yeah.
not
Comes out
October
very
yet.
soon.
Next Friday.
Yeah, next Friday.
We're seeing it Thursday.
Oh,
All right, Marvin.
I'm at the mindset I can't. Literally any other like time period, right? You know, I would have like understood why, you know, a director would have to come out and say something like this, because they've had a situation in the past where there was a Batman movie with the Joker in it, and there was like a mass shooting with a guy like obviously taking his cues from the Joker who was in the movie. So like I kind of understand the need to like preface that, but in the same token, I don't agree with how the media is like kind of perpetuating this idea that the movie by itself is going to inspire like people who aren't in the right head to commit like senseless acts of violence. That's the part I don't really agree with.
I know I'm just like completely jumping over your main point, but wait, was the shooting with Dark Knight Rises or with the Dark Knight?
The Dark Knight. Oh,
I think it was Rises.
I think it was Rises, but the guy was wearing like Joker-esque gear.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I was in 'Cause I remember going to the theater and then hearing about the story, but I did not go to the theater to see Dark Knight because I was like 8, so that would have been weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw Dark Knight when it came out.
I'm
Me
about to
too.
say, I saw
But
that shit
regardless,
IMAX.
like an event like that is unfortunate, and
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would want that to happen. But I don't think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
going to happen solely because a movie exists.
Don't they put disclaimers like that at the end of the credits anyways? Like, these are fictional characters, and like...
I think that's more for like copyright stuff or something like that.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
I suppose.
Okay.
Kareem?
This sounds exactly like the video game causes violence argument.
Yeah.
Like, I think the best answer to that argument is, what about before video games and movies? There was definitely still violence. Like,
Yeah.
violence happens no matter no matter if the movie existed or not existed. Like, it's going to happen eventually, sadly, but just how it is.
But yeah, I feel like the main thing for this is that recognizing any threats that happen. So if they seem credible enough, but I'm not too sure about any of the details for that.
Yeah. One last thing. I just don't really understand it. I mean, like, there's an actual action category for movies, like, that have violence in it the whole time. So I don't really understand, like, the whole hoopla about it because it's what quote unquote realism. I mean, like, you don't see people like for instance, like the movie with Mark Wahlberg about the Boston Marathon bombing or something. Like, should we tell that story, or is it going to cause another incident? You know, we don't hear people talking about that at all. So, like, I don't understand the whole...
And that was about an actual incident.
Exactly. So, I don't understand the whole hoopla. But anyways, how am I looking?
Got
Cool. Okay. So, yeah, just one last thing. Sorry, we're trying to be a little more cohesive and, you know,
Yes.
fluid. And so, yeah, so Robert Pattinson... in the new Batman movie, Matt Reeves' Batman, they just cast their supervillain, and it's going to be Jonah Hill.
Playing who? We wonder.
Yeah, and so a lot of people are thinking Penguin, but I just want to hear your thoughts about it real quick before we move on.
I think Penguin's a little bit too obvious.
Oh.
You know? I mean, naturally everybody goes to Penguin because it's Jonah Hill, of course. I think...
Slightly rude.
I mean,
but
yeah,
it is what it is.
yeah, it is. But you know, that's just how the internet be sometimes. I'd like to see him in like a role more so like a Riddler. I think he's got the charisma to be a Riddler, or not like a Joker or something. That's the thing. Is like Batman's got such a rich rogues gallery.
Yeah.
He could literally be like anybody.
Yeah, I mean, like, he could be Calendar Man for all I know.
I would love him as Calendar, actually.
I'd love to see a long Halloween adaptation. But anyways, what do you think, Abraham?
Yeah.
I think Penguin seems pretty safe.
Pretty legit. I mean, it's like Batman Returns-ish with, what's his face? DeVito playing the Penguin.
Yeah.
Iconic. Iconic.
Disgusting. That's our new segment, guys.
Oh yeah, also Batman's in Fortnite.
Yeah. Oh yes, indeed. For all you 10-year-olds out there, or actually, honestly, that kind of gets me closer to wanting to play the game again. It's just to be Batman, but you know, that's just me.
Oh,
Don't they have like Gotham maps?
I have no
they
idea.
got hella stuff, dude. Like Fortnite's just taking over.
I just haven't gotten into it.
Don't.
It's okay.
Don't.
All right, let's talk about Avatar. That's a segue.
Fluid.
What is Avatar? We all know it.
Best thing to come out of Nickelodeon? Question mark. Yeah.
That's pretty safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to think about like everything else they'd done. It was like Samurai Jack. No, that's Cartoon Network. Amazing World of Gumball. No, that's Cartoon Network. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be a whole nother discussion. It's like the best things to come out of each of the big three, like the networks. But,
Yeah.
you know, that's-
three.
But give us a quick rundown of what Avatar is, Abraham. As you recently watched it.
Ooh, yeah. Avatar is American written Korean animated cartoon produced by Nickelodeon, and it follows this young boy named Ong
Stop.
as he comes out of this ice to fulfill his destiny and save the world. Yeah. That was terrible. I'm sorry.
For Phil.
For Phil.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got to fulfill his destiny and fight the nation.
Anyway, we know this series is separated into like 3 books. So do we want to break each book down in order?
Sure.
Sure.
Kareem?
Let's start with book 1.
Water.
Okay, hold on. Gotta double check what happened. Because it's been a while, to be
All
fair.
right, I'll take it. Book 1. Aang discovers
God.
Katara and Sokka.
on.
And they start off on their adventure. Katara and Sokka are 2 waterbenders. Oh, I guess I should explain what bending is. Bending is the ability to control elements of nature. There you go. The Water Nation has 2 kids. They're called Katara and Sokka.
They don't just have 2 kids, but
That's all they have.
characters.
That's all they have. They have 2 kids.
The Water Nation. Two. Okay.
Anyway.
Sokka is not a bender, but his sister Katara is. And so Aang seeks to learn waterbending in this book and get closer to restoring balance to the world. And yeah, force.
Okay, so if you haven't watched the show, people are able to either have bending or non-bending. They usually gain it when they're born. So they're born with the ability and not born with the ability, and they do not get the ability later on. They can't. They can technically lose it. I guess that's kind of spoilers. But they either keep it or they don't have it, unless you're watching Legend of Korra.
It's that midichlorian
Everyone
cow.
gets it. Just
Oh, what are you talking about? I don't know what season you're talking about, Akora.
Anyway, I think if you haven't watched it, it's been out for a while. You should definitely watch it. I think of it as like a staple for American kind of animation.
Yeah.
It's a staple for
quasi,
animation.
That's quasi anime.
Quasi.
It's a lot shorter than I thought it was.
What are your brief thoughts? Like, what were your favorite moments and stuff?
From book 1.
Yes, from book 1.
Honestly, that first episode, I honestly, because that's what like hooked me in. This kid coming out of this freaking glacier, and like it was just kind of weird, like especially because we're in the perspective of Sokka and Katara, and I was like really tiny at the time, and then they're in the freaking Arctic, and all of a sudden this big ball of ice I forgot even what does it explode or does it like just dissolve or something?
It cracks open because
It
of
cracks.
Katara's
That's
like newfound water bending that she doesn't really have control over
Right.
yet.
Yeah.
So she's
Right.
angry and
Oh,
she
yeah,
lashes
gets-
out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Too, but yeah, it was that, and I think in that episode they also encounter Zuko on the ship, right? And they have that fight on the ship or something like that.
My honor.
Yeah,
Yeah, Zuko was introduced in the first episode.
That's right. So yeah, just honestly, just seeing, well, the whole concept, just how interesting it was, just out of nowhere, and then seeing the fight scene towards that end, I was like immediately hooked in this first episode. So it just kind of stick with me. Yeah, in particular.
Yeah, you meet a lot of new characters in season 1. I think the most interesting and the one that made it like seem towards adults is the Southern Air Temple, when he finds out about Monk Gyatso. Oh, no.
Monk Gyatso?
Monk Gyatso, yes. when he saw that skeleton, that threw me for a loop. I did not
is a
expect
kid's
that.
show.
Yeah.
This is a kid. Yeah, literally, it's a kid's show, and it just shows, and he goes into the Avastar state. So you definitely see where you see the divide between the kid show and like adults. I mean, I feel like it was just geared towards us because like all of us watched it when we were a kid. Well, almost all of us watched it when we were a kid. And now watching it again, you're like, oh, that's new appreciation. But yeah, it's definitely, you meet a lot of characters. I think my favorite one is King of Amashu, when you meet Bumi. That was, I had the manga too. That was, because they were selling it at the bookstore at my elementary school. Yeah. That was my most prized possession. I would read that book like every night. Yeah, but that was also where you met the my cabbages. That was pretty great.
Nice.
Yeah, they did go to a lot of places in book 1. I guess my favorite character in book 1. Is that where you wanted to go? No.
No.
Okay, you go. I don't want to get it off track.
Very good. I thought, like, unless you want to say anything, Marvin, I was thinking about just progressing towards book 2.
Book 2?
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, we're talking about your favorite episodes from book 1, right?
Yeah,
Or
brief
just give-
thoughts, favorite moments.
Oh, gosh, the entire finale of book 1, it kind of set the tone for the series for me. It just let me know, like, hey, there's, like, actual stakes in this.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, that's probably my favorite part.
Yeah.
People die.
Yeah, people definitely die.
People die when they are killed.
And I guess I'll add one thing in there, bouncing off of what Kareem said. It was profound, the idea that Aang, as a child, left home, and then the one time he comes back, his whole race, not even just his family, not just Monkey Otto, but his whole race is decimated. He is the last airbender. Like, imagine being the last person of your kind. Imagine being the last person. That'd be terrible. That'd be crazy. The heartbreak you would feel. But yeah. That was my favorite aspect of book 1, how grounded it was.
I like that damn worm.
The Unagi?
But yeah, I have to say the finale for season 1 was great because the whole season kind of kept the pace really well, but then that finale really stepped it up to a different level, and it set my expectations for the following season pretty nicely. So now, book 2. What are your brief thoughts?
Girth. I mean, Earth. Girth.
Good God.
I mean, I love me some Toth.
Yeah.
So, this book, honestly, I want to say this might be my favorite book. And it's kind of funny because it's like the one I least remember of the 3. But I just remember, like, in terms of pure emotion, I do. Was this the book with the library?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because those were my favorite
God.
episodes.
That scarred me. That owl was so terrifying.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I loved it. That's like my favorite part of the whole series. Maybe it might be those episodes.
Yeah. My favorite part of the series for book 2, I like that they had the guts to introduce a pinnacle character in book 2, Toph, that we all know and love, and she became so important. She wasn't even there for the first season, and she's barely there sometimes during the 3rd season, like a lot of the characters, because we focus on different people. But yeah, Toph's
changing journey with Zuko.
yeah, but my favorite thing about Toph was the fact that she was introduced. That was my favorite thing about book 2. Just Toph. She's great. Your thoughts, Marvin?
Book 2, I guess probably. No, I know. I was listening, trust me. No, book 2. I don't remember too much about book 2. I remember specifically Toph. She was definitely one of my favorite parts, just because like it was just so unique, like what her character was and how she evolved, especially like in book 2 and in book 3. So definitely her.
Yep.
Yeah, we love Toph. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else I'm supposed to say.
I remember. I'm looking at the episode list now, so I can try to get like memories out of there. But the Cave of Two Lovers. That was probably one of my favorite episodes too. Between Aang and Katana when they get lost.
Katana?
Katara. I'm sorry.
He's dating a sword?
Oh my.
Between Aang and Katara when they're in that cave and they get lost together or something like that. I think do they have their
Secret tunnel.
yeah?
There's a song.
Because like everyone was shipping those two. Like
Not everyone.
well, I was anyway. But and that episode I think was just a good episode for that highlighted both of their characters and where their relationship could and eventually did go. So it was at the very beginning of the season. Oh my gosh.
My favorite episodes were at the end with Ba Sing Se.
Oh yeah.
I oh my goodness, I don't want to get too deep into this, but
We'll talk about that later.
Going to that city and just seeing all the events that happened there just completely expanded the world that was already so great and vast in the series so far. I just really appreciate what they did with Ba Sing Se and the episodes there.
Nice.
Oh yeah. Okay, so some of my favorite parts, I think the last 2 episodes, definitely. The Guru is one that I really enjoyed. Him opening the chakras. That was such an interesting part because I watched some videos about people who. What religion would that be? Think about it. Buddhism? I think Buddhism is with chakras. But yeah, there was a lot of people who.
Or Hinduism.
Yeah, part of that religion is talking about how close the show was to actually like
Disclaimer,
unlocking
I'm sorry
chakras.
for any of you that got offended by any
Yeah.
of that. We're
You
just
literally
ignorant
said
little children that
Buddhism.
don't even know what it is.
Bro, chill. It could just be cultural
I'm
as
sorry,
well.
I'm sorry. Please.
Please.
All right, go ahead.
But you gotta like remember how old he is, and then the guru is telling him, like these deep questions, like what do you fear the most, and especially like the last chakra, you need to like let go of everything, like letting go of Katara, like that was just crazy to me, and also this was the book where Appa got lost, so that's why I hated that part so much. I was so angry. Like who dares take Appa? Great character, had great character development. No, kidding.
To the best of my recollection, Appa's Lost Days actually won an award for its production and its awareness for animal treatment and animal abuse.
Oh, that was when he was in the circus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was-
And he was found by the Kyoshi warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That was so great seeing them get back together. And oh God, I just said on again. I'm sorry.
Unironically.
Fuck that movie. It's corrupted me. Good God. All right.
His name is Aang.
Yes, Aang. All right, Aang in season 3.
Ooh, season 2. Ooh.
Season 3.
Ooh.
By far my favorite season.
Ooh.
By far my favorite season. I can't even choose my favorite episode. I can't. There's so many great moments. From the bloodbending episode to Sokka learning how to sword fight to Katara finding out the truth of her mother to the incredible finale. To Aang learning how to firebend. It went all over the place, but every single episode I felt like it nailed it. Like it went 100% and beyond every single episode, and I absolutely love it. Yeah.
I like season 3 for that aspect too. But because we see an expansion of cultures in each season or each part of the seasons, the first or the latter. But I liked this specifically when Aang was learning how to firebend with Zuko, and it brought up like a native South American culture as representative of like a sun god, or learning how to firebend and saying that fire is life instead of just destruction.
Yeah.
So I thought that was beautiful and really interesting. I like them expanding on the cultures represented in the show.
Yeah, fire was definitely only seen as destruction, especially I think it was in the first episode where Aang was learning his elements out of order, because the avatars learn it in order. I think he was learning firebending from one of the firebending masters, and he accidentally hurt Katara.
Yeah.
And so he only seen it as destruction, but in that episode he finally saw it as light. And that was also interesting, how confident they were that they were going to learn firebending from the dragons. And then I forgot what the name of that tribe was.
The Sun Tribe, we'll call it
something Sun Tribe, when they said, hey, Zuko, you may not learn this because of how much like destruction your fathers have, or family has done upon people, and Aang, you may not learn it because you left us when we needed you the most.
Yeah.
So
What was the episode where Zuko went? And I forgot was he trying to learn how to lightning bend or something?
Oh,
Where you
I-
went?
That was book 2.
I think it was
I'm pretty
book
sure.
two,
Was that
yeah.
book 2?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, kind of backtracking. I really love that moment when he was like basically like fighting against himself, kind of.
Zuko at his most emo.
Yeah.
Hit me with all you've got. You've always done that before.
Yeah.
Good God.
The Edge.
He really became one of my favorite characters in this book specifically, and just seeing how much he grows. And fun fact, his voice actor is he like narrates the Galaxy of Adventures on the Star Wars channel, and so.
Oh my god.
Obligatory Star Wars
and so like just listen to this. It's funny as frick.
You're a Jedi Knight, aren't you?
Hold on.
There's something about this boy. The force is unusually
Definitely
strong.
not take off.
Come on, voiceover, where you at?
You refer to the
Jedi. I promise. Like my father before.
I take it back. All right, just take my word for it. He voices over these like small animation stuff, and it's like in a galaxy of adventures. But imagine that's like Zuko's voice, and like and he like narrates over it. It's so cool because it like blends two fandoms for me.
No, you really had to just shove that in there. Stop it.
So you guys can ignore the last 40 seconds of this. I just want to make Star Wars relevant. But anyway,
You can do that, like with your phone. I didn't know you could do that.
yeah, this is a Bluetooth thing. I told you this earlier.
Oh, I'm
Oh, I
so
didn't even
sorry.
know you were playing it.
Yeah, it was from my phone. But don't worry. About it.
Oh, I don't have headphones on.
Oh shit, that must have been so weird for you then. Okay, yeah. And Abraham's like, what is this guy doing?
All right, as we step over that awkward hang-up, let's get into. Oh wait, Marvin, did you have anything to say about season 3?
The end, beautiful. What else can I say? Just sex.
Good.
I-
All right.
I will say though, I was looking through the episodes and I didn't realize how many different animation studios they had working on all the different episodes.
Yeah.
It was insane amount actually.
Yeah.
They were up to a lot.
A whole lot. I don't know who JM Animation is, but they did the last episode, and God bless America. Or did they do?
I don't know if they're America, but God bless them.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about our favorite characters and why they're our favorite characters now?
Yes. All right, let's get into that. Alia, what's your favorite character?
Dang, I want to go last.
Okay. Kareem, what's your favorite character?
Iroh.
Enough said.
Oh my god.
Rip Mako.
I'm sorry, Caleb. You good?
Oh, okay. It's how you said it. That was it was funny as frick. My favorite character. It might be Zuko. It's just this last freaking book. I love when people change a lot. He's like the Vegeta type character that I actually like more than the main protagonist. And I love Aang a lot. But I like how Zuko assumed that role, and then his relationship with his sister, and then his father and his uncle, and it's just very, I don't know, it's very heartwarming for me. And so yeah, he just became my MVP by the end of the show.
Yeah.
My favorite character would be Aang, but when he got his hair back.
Damn.
It's nothing to do with the characters design specifically, but it was it was Aang probably at his, I want to say at his most human, because that was right after he suffered one of his biggest losses, after he got freaking bodied.
He
And,
almost died. Or he actually did, and
He did
Qatar
die,
brought him back.
Yeah. And so his recovery after it, and everything leading up until the final episode, I just absolutely loved it. You got something to say, Ollie?
No, I don't.
I guess I gotta go now. I really want to say Zuko, but Caleb already said him.
You
So
can still say
I'm
it.
gonna say Sokka. He's just such
You
a
are
great
Sokka.
character. I am Sokka. I'm sorry. But yeah, he brought such good comedic timing to the show, but also he was a great character too. So it's the best of both worlds for me, and when I look for a character. But yeah, his episodes were great. His moments were even greater, and he has some of the best quotes in the show, just out of comedic value.
I remember when they were rushing for time. I think this is earlier on. They were saying we're gonna have to do our poop breaks and our eating time at the same time, and everyone was grossed out. No.
No, that was in season 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh my. Yeah. What's your favorite quote from Sokka?
Shoot. That's a good one. I'll get back to you.
We'll be right back.
Oh, this is a little interesting fact. Apparently, the guy who directed the last 2 episodes of The Last Airbender is attached to direct the sequel to Spider-Verse.
M. Night Shyamalan? I'm kidding.
Oh,
Don't say that name.
I almost got bodied.
oh gosh, but that's interesting. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
My favorite character for simply their narrative structure would have to be Azula. Because she didn't really change all that much until the very last episode, and that's only because your perception of her changes.
Yeah.
It's not her as a character. She doesn't grow all that much. We can see from her, like, flashbacks from her childhood to the end that she's always been kind of troubled.
That bitch. She always been that bitch.
Oh my god. But,
I don't know. Azula's great. Go ahead.
yeah, she had a certain disposition, in like needing love from her parents, and when she like got the love that she wanted from her father, her mother kind of distanced herself because she saw her own daughter going down the same path as her father, and she didn't want to be a part of it, so she clung more to Zuko. And Azula, from very early on, she was able to notice that, and it hurt her feelings that even in the beach episode, she was talking about that, saying my own mother thought I was a monster.
Yeah.
And that's the 1 second that we get throughout the entire series
The
of her
1
being
second,
genuine.
her being
She
vulnerable.
said, she was right though, but it still hurt. It was terrible. But I think we should keep in context that she's like a child when all of this is going on. She's 14 when she is sent to take over a nation by her own father, who doesn't even want her brother around because he spoke out of line. That's how much trust and faith that her father puts in her and how much weight she has on her shoulders. And by the end, she's 16. She's the Fire Lord, and she crumbles because she thought she had everything she wanted, but she didn't. And her father only wanted her to do that so her father could be more powerful. The love that her father had for her seemed to crumble in her eyes, and you can see that when she retaliates against him for a brief moment in the 3rd season, saying that you're treating me like Zuko, and that must be the biggest insult to her. Like, you're treating me like nothing. And for her to see how easy that was to happen, it must have really hurt her. And then for her to think about her mother as the episode goes on must hurt her even more. But yeah, that's why she's my favorite.
She scared the crap out of me as a child.
She has claws. Those aren't nails.
I was scared as frick when she was on screen. But even when she warmed up, I was like, can I trust what she's saying?
No.
You know?
Azula always lies.
Exactly.
Azula
So I was
always
like,
lies.
oh my god.
I just love the presence that she brought to every scene that she was on. Like, she brought such a confidence and it was just this mistrust that you didn't know. When she came on the screen, you didn't know how that scene was going to play out. And so I just really appreciate her character for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah.
Who's the best girl?
It'd be a big fight.
Let's get ready to rumble.
I also like Ty Lee's narrative structure, and like it was very brief, but she's always been part of a matching set as a child. She was one of many siblings that all looked the same, and so her stereotype, her character trope has a reason for it. She's not eye candy for the sake of being eye candy. She's eye candy because she wants the attention that she never got from her parents.
Yeah, and it's funny that.
Whoa.
It's funny that you say that because yes, she was like she looked identical to all of her siblings, yet she joined the Kyoshi Warriors.
Yes,
Like-
she traded one for the other, but with a purpose. She wanted
Character
a purpose.
development.
Like, yeah. Talk more about other characters.
Or are we on to favorite episodes?
Yeah.
You feel like you talked enough about characters? All right, cool. All right.
Characters.
Your favorite characters?
Curtis.
Episodes. All right. This is a long one. Everyone pick one episode and rant about it.
Damn, I want to go first.
whatever one episode you want to talk about.
Tales of Ba Sing Se is hands down my favorite episode.
Who brought in these onions?
Exactly. Because in that one episode, I think Iroh became one of my top few characters for his grief over his son, for pursuing and supporting the same path that they were both on for fighting for the Fire Lord and the Fire Nation. Back when Iroh was a totally different person who was stereotypically evil and whatnot. But I'll talk more specifically about the episode. I thought the song is beautiful, and it's the heaviest object known to man. And it represents his bond with his son and how he wants to correct those mistakes with Zuko, even though it's not his son. Yeah.
All right, you got me tearing up over here. I have to go with Katara and Zuko's episode where they kind of close off the ties with Katara's past with her mother. It brought such a much needed catharsis with Katara's character, because at this point she had been so mistrusting to Zuko, even though he has been there for Team Avatar so much at this point, that you were starting to get irritated with her doing that. And then they brought the episode in right at the right time when I was getting kind of irritated with that. And her character with that, I feel like you can't state it enough, because it was a moment where she felt like she wasn't enough to protect her mother from dying. And so that has stuck with her from the moment she's been a child. And that's pretty much the same baggage that Aang holds on to. Exactly. But like a little smaller scale.
A little smaller scale.
just a little bit.
It's still so I'm sorry, but it's so tragic. I never even made that connection. Aang and Katara were both the only people who would have been able to help the person that they wanted to help most if they had only been ready to do so.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad.
And Katara was the last Southern Waterbender, right?
Katara was the last Southern Waterbender. She was a child, and she could not save her mother.
Can we make Katara the next Avatar? But anyways, that episode all around is perfect in my eyes. It starts out with this badass fight that I've never seen something as hey, that was me.
Oh my god.
Up until that point in the series, I hadn't seen anything that was as eye-catching as the fight with what was it, Zuko and Azula on top of multiple airships. What? It was insane. The animation quality in season 3 just went above and beyond so many, like most anime that come out today don't even look half as good as the animation quality in season 3. And that episode showcased it not just once, but multiple times throughout the episode. So we have this story arc with Katara dealing with her grief with her mother, and then she goes on to fight with this idea of, do I forgive this person who wronged me, or do I lash out in retaliation? And then that also ties into Aang's character arc with how he deals with the Fire Lord. And then she goes on to find him, and then her stopping the rain was easily the coolest part in the whole episode. Right. And yeah, I just love it so much overall. And Sokka was fucking phenomenal in that episode. Oh, Suki!
Oh my gosh.
Talking about adult implication.
Yeah, Caleb?
I was just trying to look up the specific episode, but one of my favorites, one of them, because I don't have a favorite, is probably Toph's origin story and how they were explaining that. Because I know like we see her, she's like kind of like what she's like fighting underground or something like that, like underground ring.
She's an underground wrestler.
Yeah,
Who does that in secret?
exactly. Like at this little blind girl, and then
Dare challenge the boulder?
But also I think but because her background is what she's from like, isn't she like kind of royalty?
She's from
Yes,
royalty.
Yeah, exactly, and just that,
The
that kind of
Beifong
story,
family.
and just kind of this is why I like Sabo a lot too. Now that I think about it, this is a One Piece thing. Basically, like these people who like who are from royalty, yep, they don't feel like they don't belong in that environment per se, and they have like these different characteristics that they want to express, but it's looked down upon, and so just her and just her personality, how it's kind of like abrasive and direct, and how it just kind of contradicts like almost everything. Like you would not think Toph origins come from that kind of area. And so I just love that contrast, and then her growth starting from that moment. So whatever episode they showcased that in was one of my favorites.
I feel like her dealing with her, I guess, destiny and royalty was also it could also make a relationship with Zuko's
Right.
identity.
Did you have a favorite episode, Marvin?
I mean, it's kind of a normie thing, but the finale, just
Oh my god.
Hey, I can't blame you for that. Hey.
I mean, I liked it for the same reason I like the ending to like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Where it touches on everything that it really needs to touch on, while still and wraps up a lot of things while still leaving things like open ended, which is how we got Korra. So I liked it.
So we got Korra.
How we got Korra.
What?
Oh, you already went.
Did you already say your favorite episode?
Yeah, I did.
Shit, we can say another favorite episode.
Yeah. I'll just give my two okay. My two are probably the last two before the final fight.
Yeah.
The final fight we can all agree on, so I guess we could talk about that later if we want to. But definitely the two before. So just to preface, episode 19 was when Aang basically
season
learned.
3?
Yes, sorry, of season 3 is when Aang basically learned how to take away bending. In a sense, he's not really taking it away. I believe he's like blocking the certain paths of like energy. I don't know. Anyways,
it's kind of open, yeah.
What the lion turtle said to him, that was that quote he said. I can't even remember it. It was so.
It was so great. He can't remember it, guys.
I'll try to find
That's
it.
all the best quotes are.
But yeah, right. So right before the lion turtle, he was like asking all the avatars like, what should he do? He doesn't want to kill the Fire Lord. What should he do? But every single avatar tells him, you have to kill him. This is something more than you. You have to do this to save the world. And only the lion turtle, who is not an avatar, who is not really fought, is the only person who says you don't have to kill him. He doesn't really directly say it either. He just kind of shows him doing the movement. So it was Aang just kind of understood what to do.
Sokka.
Also, episode 20. I think still one of my favorite fights. The final Agni Kai between Zuko and Azula. This is when you talked about before how Azula how I think it shows a little bit of her childhood. I can't actually remember. Does it show?
I don't remember. It might. It very well
Okay,
might.
but I do remember her like throwing her brush at the mirror when her
Yeah.
reflection of her mother. That's a sign on its own. But like this is a part where she was betrayed by both of her like childhood friends. That was right after Boiling Rock, and so she's already mentally unstable. And now you have Zuko, who was like always under her, was not able to be as powerful as her, was already on her level, and you could say even above her level at that point. So it was just such an interesting fight because they were also brother and sister fighting against one another. And that fight, that music from that fight scene, I think is still one of my favorite
Yeah.
battle music. It's common for something that's like so like
It's like melancholic.
yeah.
It drives home the reality that this is sad. This isn't like an exciting Agni Kai that you would expect.
Oh no, not at all.
In those final episodes, I feel like they bring all the characters to their full, they bring all the character arcs to their full completion. And I really appreciate how they did that.
Oh, to tag off of that, that filler but not filler episode. An example for good filler.
The beach.
No, not the beach. The
Dream.
was it the Ember Island Players?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, that was such a good filler.
Yeah, because I liked it because it furthered everybody's motivations at that time and really emphasized where they were and how their next solution was going to be. It wasn't an episode where I left thinking, all right, that was cool, but how are they going to solve this? It like totally picked up and it kept that running through. Aang was confronted with his fear the entire time that he was supposed to kill the Fire Lord, or worse, that he would lose.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. Big emphasis.
No, I completely agree, and I feel like season 3 did such a good job at picking up the places, like as it was progressing, it was picking up the slack that it kind of left behind. So like with certain characters, each episode that followed, it would bring in that character and develop it as needed as the story went on and to full completion. So I really love that. So the production in this show was really good. Let's talk about it a little bit.
One thing that I've been wanting to say since the beginning was that I really appreciate why each book was named each thing, like water versus earth versus fire. Like nobody really remembers book 2, which was earth, and that's because it's steady and it's doing the grunt work and it's slow moving. And book 1 for water, that's like the introduction, I think we all know, about the creation of life on this planet with primordial soup. That was the sea. And then the final one is you gotta go out with a bang, you gotta go out with fire. And there's no book for air, because he's the last airbender. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I just thought that was really cool.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Well, if you didn't know, this show was produced by Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko. They're pretty cool. They made the show. I don't know what else to say about that. They put in a lot of work into making sure what they produced came out the way they envisioned it. And so I can really appreciate them having such a grand artistic vision and putting in so much work. And they could have done this, they could have half-assed this and made it such a mediocre product, but they did the path least taken. Whatever, we're gonna use that.
Oh my God. The road less traveled.
That's what I said. And they really made the story the best that they could make it, given what they were given. And I just really appreciate the product that they added, not only to animation, but just the art world in general.
Yeah. And it's representation of a lot of Asian cultures, like not just your, like, what do you call that region? Like your northern Asian cultures? Like we usually think of Korea,
Eastern.
China, Japan, Eastern, excuse me. But they traipsed into like South Asian cultures and even like Native American cultures. The Inuit people who are what the Water Tribe was modeled after. So I just thought that was insanely cool.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a lot of shows like that.
Yeah, and I mean they really stayed true to maintaining those culture values even in a lot of the visuals of the show. So a lot of the martial arts in the show, this is a martial arts show, even though they're shooting magical flames and water and whatnot.
Yeah.
A lot of the movements are based in real martial arts, and they actually got multiple martial arts consultants, mainly this guy, Master Kisu. He was very trained in many martial arts, and he actually worked with them with this vision of seeing, okay, what do these nations mostly resemble, and how would these nations use a martial art within the context of their position in this world to bend the elements. And so from that, as you know, the different nations have their different movements and whatnot. I don't remember what they are, but but I also thought it was really cool how they also got another master, Master Manuel, for Toph's martial arts, since hers is unique from any other character or any other Earthbender in the show.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
so
she can't see.
yeah, they had to like find a martial arts that worked for blind people because of her character. And it's that much attention to detail.
The attention to detail, bro.
Yes, that much
I love
attention
the
to
show.
detail in her character. And like if you look it up on YouTube, you can see like these people talking about their work on the show. And you can see the martial arts that the real people do and compare that to many of the fight scenes in the show. And you can really see how much went into animating these characters true to their where they've come from and the martial arts that they represent. And I love that. I love that so much. Yeah.
Awesome.
Does anybody else come from, well, I don't come from any martial arts background, but anybody come from martial arts background that can speak on that?
Yeah, I learned Tang Soo Do when I was in elementary school all the way to middle school, and I didn't know there were so many different forms of martial arts and so many different arts. But yeah, I definitely see the uniqueness because Tang Soo Do is not like Taekwondo, which is not like Tai Chi, or which is not like Wing Chun. They all come from their specific places and have their own story to them, really, and how they started. It was amazing.
Yeah, so it really makes sense how, like, not only is there, like, a specific type of martial arts per bending, but it's also per region/culture,
Yeah.
too, in the show. Maybe even more so.
Yeah, and they
So-
correlate that with the cultures they're trying to represent, which is, like, oh my god,
It's
I love
pretty
that.
crazy.
They really did it right. I can't understate it enough of just how much value was placed into making sure so much attention went into fleshing out each character and region and nation that they mentioned in the show. Yeah, Kareem, any hot takes?
There's a hot take, I'm going to press the button.
Go ahead.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, so I'll just add a little something about culture. So I'm actually taking an INTA class on Chinese politics and history.
Ooh.
And I realized that the Fire Nation is so closely related to Chinese history and politics that it's ridiculous. So
Really?
yeah, so Fire Lord Ozai is basically an emperor of China. So the Chinese history and politics were all about Chinese world order, which basically they want to unite the whole world, but they also want to rule the whole world. And so they claim that since everything has one entity, so if you can think of like the sky only has one sun, or anything you can think of that has like oneness to it, so Fire Lord Ozai is saying, hey, I need to rule the whole world. So that's why he became Phoenix King. What was he?
Phoenix King,
Yeah,
yeah.
Phoenix King, Fire Lord. So it was just really interesting to see that kind of Chinese sort of world order in the Fire Nation.
That's
So-
interesting because I knew about the Fire Nation being more representative of feudal Japanese culture. It's definitely like a lot of things you said about the rule of an emperor, and I feel like it's more closely tied to Japanese in this respect to how much value it places on honor and the closeness of the family in that sense. So that's how I know that it is very, the Fire Nation in general is very influenced by Japanese culture as well. And I feel like a large portion of the show is greatly influenced by Chinese culture too.
A large portion. One portion that I recall, I watched a video on it, and that's the only reason I really recall. It talked about the episode of Lake Laogai in Book 2, and the Dai Li, and their secret dealings and somewhat mind control.
There's no war.
But I can't remember the exact specifics. So do you know, Kareem, how that related to different cultural standards or different like historical happenings in China? Because that's, to the best of my recollection, that's what the point of the video was. I'm not saying it's true.
Okay. I can't really Lake Laogai, like the I forgot what it's called. Mind something.
Brainwashing?
Brainwashing, thank you. I can't relate to brainwashing, but I can relate a little bit to Ba Sing Se and how they're walled off. Chinese culture did that as well. How they had geographic, geographic barriers as well. Like they had mountains. They literally had a Great Wall of China as well, and they had like the Pacific Ocean and swamps to the south, so they couldn't really travel down there either. So a lot of the time, the emperor made the people think that there's nobody but them, so there's no one outside, and so they make it seem like nothing can hurt them, or they're the best, and that's why they should rule over the world. So, but I wouldn't say Ba Sing Se is exactly like that, but the idea of walling it off and saying there's nothing wrong with it, that's very close to what Chinese would have been doing way back then.
Wow. Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah. Let's see. They also we have to get into a little bit of the visuals and animation before we leave.
Yes.
Oh man! All right. Who
What's
wants
your-
to go first?
What's your favorite visual episode?
Can I not say the last episode?
Can I not say that too?
I know, like, one of my favorite fights, I think it was the end of Book 2, that finale, between, who was he fighting?
He was fighting Azula,
Yeah.
and then Zuko joined in.
Oh, I thought it was, like, some other, like, Earth person in general. I
Well,
don't
the
I
Dai Li.
forgot.
Yeah, the Dai Li,
Right.
Long Feng.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, were they on a, were they on like a train thing or like a wall thing?
They were in a cavern, the
Okay.
catacombs with like crystals and everything.
Right. That was one of my favorite looking episodes in terms of like, I guess it's more of a choreography thing because of the fight itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I think for one, yeah, like the finale, like you guys were saying, in terms of like pure animation, my God.
In terms of animation,
Yeah.
definitely the last episode, but also my favorite episode with Katara. That was incredible. But also the Day of Black Sun. Oh my God, the animation. They showed off this. They showed off so many different like styles of They showed off different styles of bending, or of like showing the characters bending that we hadn't seen before in the series yet. Just purely in choreography, and I can appreciate that. That was great.
Awesome.
But yeah, and also I enjoy how they approached the art and animation like they were as in cinematic quality. So some of the scenes, I know the director, he said, okay, I want this scene in like a wide angle lens. Well, like, what the hell is that when you're drawing it? So like, but it was just that kind of mindset and that and the approach to the animation that really brought this cinematic quality to most of the episodes we love and enjoy today. And so, yeah, the art was incredible, and the work they put behind it, pushing the boundaries of what is accustomed to happening on TV animation, and what the artists were even comfortable with, was incredible. And thank you so much, guys. Thank you. So is this anime? What do you guys feel? A little hot take. Oh boy.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
my. Oh, the microphone just got unsteady.
All right, that's okay.
Fixing
The
it.
microphone wasn't ready for this. All right. Okay, I just wanted to ask, define animation.
Oh, we did that in a previous episode.
Yeah, you can
I
go
was
to our-
not here.
Check it
That's
out if you
quite
haven't seen it. I
alright.
think that was.
Yeah, but let's see. I mean, it can be anime depending on how you describe it.
Yeah, I define animation. Animation. I define anime as a specific style of animation. So, to me it's not really about the country of origin specifically. It's about the style of animation. So I would categorize it as anime because of the style.
Big eyes. Lollies. No.
Whoa! FBI, open up! Marvin?
What to define it as anime? I guess I would. You know, like personally speaking, I feel like it has enough of those elements that I see a lot in different anime that I watch to where I wouldn't feel bad about describing it as anime. In the same token, I could see why somebody else wouldn't, just because I don't know, it's kind of westernized in a way. So yeah, if it was just up to me, I'd say that it was anime, but I wouldn't say somebody was wrong if they said it wasn't.
Yeah, I personally think I classify it as an anime just because it's easier for me to put it on my top list like that. But yeah, I can definitely see how definitely in season 1 and a little bit in season 2, it was trying to find its footing between Western animation and anime style. So like a lot of scenes would kind of it's hard to say it in words, but scenes would kind of progress more quickly than you would expect it to in an anime. But I feel like in season 3, it was absolutely identical to any other anime that I would be watching. So, yeah, season 3 pulled through. It's an anime.
Nice.
When I was younger, I didn't really, well, when I was younger, I didn't watch as much anime, but when I was younger, I didn't really consider it an anime because of the context in which I was watching it. You know, certain anime, well, compared to anime I watched, like, anime in terms of the U.S., how we watched it back then, because we were just, like, mid-2000s.
Pokemon, Dragon
Yes.
Ball, like stuff.
Yeah, well, even, like, I watched Dragon Ball on DVD, so, like, that was my anime outlet.
Ooh.
Because, like, I was too young, because, like, Toonami was gone by that point. And, yeah, because I'm a weird, how I got into the fandom was really weird. But basically, yeah, like, I just, I thought anime came on, like, at stuff late at night or something like you found on the internet, but I was watching it on Prime TV. So for me, and when I was younger, I was like, okay, so it's like a cartoon like everything other else. But as I got older and I'm seeing more of the context in which it's made and how it looks, then yeah, I would definitely consider it to be an anime. But I also wouldn't shoot anyone down who called it a cartoon earlier, because it became a part of your Western culture in which you saw it like any other cartoon at the time.
Right.
But I feel like it's also so integral to otaku culture as well in the West. Like, I mean, we treated it as good as an anime as rather than a cartoon, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the subject matter coupled with the fact that it's
Oh,
it's coupled with the fact of its animation style and the audience it targets. It's kind
Yeah.
of characteristic.
Yeah. Definitely. I love the show. It's great. If you haven't watched it, or if you haven't watched it in a long time, go back and watch it. It's incredible. I don't know where it's on that you can watch it, but you can probably find it somewhere.
How did you
There's
watch it?
ways.
I watched it legally. I bought the videos and yeah.
Capper.
But yeah, anyone else have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah. The movie was great. No.
Get out. Get out.
Objective bad.
Aren't we getting a Netflix adaptation?
2020.
Very soon.
Ooh,
I
a
forgot
live
about that.
action?
A live action series from Netflix. Apparently, Michael and Brian are directing that. So,
I'm excited.
I have faith in them. I'm putting my faith in them one last time.
Objectively optimistic.
Can't wait to see Ong again.
Oh, please don't. But yeah, I guess we'll see you next time when we talk about Avatar and The Legend of Korra. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, since you've been listening to us this far, we thank you. Hope you subscribe to hear more stuff like this. Don't forget to like, share, and do all that other good stuff with our videos. And thank you. Love you. Hope to see you next time. Big Bella's out.